Hey everyone, FinanceFeeds is here at the Finance Magnates London Summit. I'm joined now by Andrew Sachs, who's Chief Product Officer at TraderEvolution Global. Andrew, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Nikolai, nice to see you.
It's good to see you. It's been quite a while, and obviously with your storied history with our publication.
Yeah, here I am on the other side this time.
Yes, it's great to see you.
Likewise.
So, Andrew, I wanted to ask, over the years, the FX industry has gradually become multi-asset, right? But what does multi-asset really mean? Is it exposure to multiple asset classes via CFD products? Or is it something else? And what does TraderEvolution offer in terms of multi-asset?
Interesting question, actually. And yes, I would say that it has been, the whole industry, electronic trading industry in general, has been going down the multi-asset path for some time, but it's taking a bit of a long time because there are still quite a lot of companies that are in a position where they have reached a level of success, but they have found that they've now started to become constrained by the single asset nature of their technology provider, service provider they're using.
I see.
So those companies now find themselves at a crossroads. So that's one aspect. Other aspect is that what is multi-asset? Multi-asset is not necessarily multi-instrument, as in how many instruments, for thousands of instruments that can be stored on a CFD platform. Multi-asset is genuinely being able to connect to a range of global markets without restrictions from any venue, any executing venue, any exchange, any type of trading activities such as futures, equities, options, CFDs and Forex, whether you're doing a combination of over-the-counter products and exchange listing. That's really how you would define multi-asset. And yes, there is a drive towards it. The thing that is probably a matter for brokerages to overcome is how to actually harness the ability to keep being able to add different asset classes to their platform without upsetting their existing client base and redefining the whole structure of their system. I think what they have to do is find a way to have a total control over the back office of their system so they can add different liquidity providers and different liquidity feeds for different asset classes as they go. That, I think, is probably the way to do it, because otherwise, for example, options has just been a big thing there. We see a lot of companies with their own trading platform infrastructure who have been able to add options. So they've been able to just go ahead and do it because they've got the infrastructure. If your platform doesn't support it, then it's difficult to be on top of that challenge.
Yes.
So I think that is a major consideration right now. Always there will be things like that come up that need to be, trends. And the trends are becoming more multi-asset based,
yes,
like options and futures. So being able to be agile and adapt to those trends without having to reinvent the wheel is really important.
I think you bring up a really important point, and this is something that I've actually experienced in my previous roles in the industry. Is, like you said, a native trading platform, or let's say proprietary trading platform, but the way that it's set up on the back end and servers and things like that cannot handle different asset classes than the traditional ones that were on that platform before. And I've seen quite a few companies sort of stumble. They want to get these things to market, these additional products to traders to market very quickly, but they end up stumbling. And I think you correctly pointed out that that's one of the bigger problems or challenges today.
It is indeed. And it's really, at that point in a broker's position, there are two options really. One is to bite the bullet and spend the money to build your own trading infrastructure from scratch, which is a big undertaking. It's very time and resource hungry, and it's the time to market is long. So as it's possible to be spending a lot of money on dev and hiring a lot of dev workers in-house, being responsible for all of that, at the same time missing those trends that are currently in place, because it's difficult to get that to market quickly enough.
Yes.
So to be able to compete, some companies have done that, but they are what you could call the establishment, like IG Group, or Interactive Brokers, or FXCM back in the day.
Sure.
They, from the outset, invested in their own platforms, and then CMC Markets, which cost them quite famously £100 million, and they went public and raised money to do it. But they were able to go public because they had their own platform.
Sure.
Which meant all their IP was all on their own infrastructure. They were able to be valued. So those are companies that are large players. For a medium-sized company or a large player that hasn't got its own platform, there were two options. One is to spend the money and develop your own. which is, as we said, time and resource hungry and potentially miss out. Or to take a pure end-to-end technology solution from a company that provides a back-end first system, deploy that back-end onto the broker's infrastructure, and then the broker is able to achieve pretty much the same objective as companies like IG Group and CFC Markets with their own trading infrastructure. However, they also have another advantage of being able to plug any asset class and any liquidity field in whatsoever and be completely liquidity agnostic. So without the development costs and time to market.
Sure.
That's the other option, and that's the way to stay on top. Then once you've done that, you can stay on top of all the potential requirements for development or going more multi-asset requirements or industry trends can simply be connected, and away you go, basically.
And with everything, Andrew, that you just mentioned and we discussed, is the TraderEvolution platform sort of a broker-in-a-box solution? Can we call it that? Because in my mind, it is and it isn't.
Right. Well, that's actually a good analogy, because in a way, you could say that you could, if you're a brokerage, you could deploy the entire TraderEvolution platform onto your infrastructure, which has a comprehensive back-end solution, so you can run all your operations from it without being reliant on anyone else, as well as a front-end and a mobile solution, which are all issued from that back-end and controlled from that back-end without any interference from anybody else. So you could say, if you say it's a broker in a box, it's a comprehensive broker where you would be able to own and operate your entire aspects of your brokerage. So as long as you've got the right risk management people on board who can operate, who know how to use the back office, the dealing room who know how to work with matching engines and liquidity providers and things like that.
Sure.
And are able to have trading people who know how to match orders and so forth, then yes, you basically you can have your own brokerage, which is fully independent from any other constraints based upon it by a provider. So it's sort of a broker in a box, but if you want to be like a rival to the very big brokerages that have full control over everything whilst offering global asset classes in any market, any venue worldwide, and control how you offer them, as well as control all your marketing, how your brand operates on mobile platforms, on front end, create your own image, then yes, that's a fully comprehensive solution.
And am I correct in understanding that a customer doesn't necessarily need to take the front end? They could take the back end, use the back end, as long as that back end efficiently connects to the proprietary front-facing technology that a company has.
Yes.
And essentially you're getting the same flexibility, but keeping what we would call your IP rights and sort of your branding.
Yes, that's
things
right.
that your clients are used to. Right?
That's right.
So that in that sense, it's not a broker-in-a-box solution, but it is.
Exactly. So what you could do is, if you've developed your own proprietary front end, some brokers have done that, then they've already got their brand, and their brand is recognized by their customers, and they've got brand loyalty. What they can do then is take the TraderEvolution back end to expand their asset classes ability to get away from being restricted by a service provider or having a brokerage which is reliant on another broker, like a white label of another broker. So you could become liquidity agnostic and completely asset class agnostic by having the TraderEvolution backend, and all of those multi-asset instruments would then show up on your in-house front end. So you keep your brand image, you keep your loyalty. What you do is increase your product range and control your IP but the customer is still able to use the familiar front end. So that's a way of expanding and moving towards more autonomy, but retaining your brand identity.
I think that's very, very cool.
I think it's the only one that exists.
Well, I hope. Let's see. Because the way that your service and products are set up, you deal with a lot of market data connections and everything like that, APIs. I would say that APIs have taken arguably like center stage in terms of discussions in our industry within the fintech space. I was going to ask, how do you think brokers can leverage APIs to better retain, for example, to better retain their customers in today's day and age?
That's actually very interesting. You're absolutely right. API connectivity is now a big topic. We We just had a discussion here at the FMLS 23 this morning about that. And I think retaining customers by using API to connect dynamic front-end tools to a front-end platform is very valuable. For example, there are a lot of companies in this industry which provide specific dynamic tools that traders like to use. So having them integrated within a trading platform, a broker can offer a client, and they can integrate things like TradingView, which is I think it's the biggest social network in the world, and the most used charting system in the world. If you integrate that, then clients can execute their trades from within TradingView, which means you gain lots of loyal customers and don't have the marketing costs. And it's a respected, trusted platform.
And more flexibility once again for the traders.
And then you can have other such things like there are educational tools like Acuity, and there are things like AutoChartist. These are what you could call dynamic front-end tools. Brokers might want to be able to plug them in using an API to engage their clients and retain them better, or to respond to their requirements. If you have a very high net worth trader as an important customer, and he comes to the brokerage and says, I really need this for my trading, and you say, I can't, and you run the risk of losing a very, very high net worth trader. If you just say, okay, that's fine, we plug it in on your request, trader's going to be really impressed with that and is able to carry on, and you're tailoring the technology as it goes and being able to dynamically adapt to the requirements of traders without having to disrupt your trading infrastructure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very, 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 very cool. Another added benefit of TraderEvolution. So we discussed multi-asset, right? We're not going to go through all the different asset classes, but obviously TraderEvolution Global is very, very flexible as a backend, as a platform to accommodate all of these different asset classes. But I wanted to ask you, throughout this year, we've obviously seen, or maybe even before this year, we've seen a lot of focus on cryptos, right? We've seen a lot of focus on futures markets. Now we're really talking about options. Options are becoming extremely popular in the US and European markets and things like that. Now people are starting to talk about fixed income. I think that perhaps you can elaborate a little bit on your personal feelings of where fixed income might be next year or the next few years, and perhaps TraderEvolution has some solutions today, or will have some solutions in the future for firms that actually want to get into this space as well as an asset class.
Absolutely, that's really important. Certainly, we've seen the options wave now.
Yeah.
That's really recent. And fixed income may well be the next one. And if you talk to some bank traders who work here in London, at Merrill Lynch and JP Morgan, and these are bank trading desks working for Tier 1 bank, they are all really quite focused. Quite a lot of them of their day is taken up now trading fixed income.
Yeah.
So it's coming from the Tier 1 bank into bank trading desks, and it's now going out into the electronic trading world. So I think that probably will be the next big one. The question is, how do you deal with it when it comes?
Sure.
Options was one. Futures is now on. A lot of people here today are talking about adding futures to their range of products.
To me, it would seem quite difficult, again, because the way the market is structured, the way the product is structured, is so different from a traditional.
Very much so.
Traditional meaning FX and
CFD. So it's almost, if you have a platform which only is designed only to handle FX and CFDs, it's almost impossible. So, and there have been a lot of developments of trying to adapt those platforms to do. It's still very hard because all around the world, the execution of different asset classes on different venues differs. Like there's no FX and CFD is quite uniform. It's an over-the-counter product. So whether you're a Cyprus broker or an Australian broker, executing a CFD product is very similar. But executing a futures contract on the Chicago exchanges is a different contractual process to execute that on an exchange in India or Brazil or Australia. Doing a mining company contract on Australia, South Africa is different. So each market has its own different execution, and all the exchanges, all the venues are different. So the company has to choose a platform which is able to execute, take liquidity feeds and plug them in for all of those different executing venues, and do things like direct certification with exchanges, or connect bridges to be able to connect multiple venues and multiple sources to multiple platforms. Because going down the route of multi-asset from being a CFD broker is it should be able to take those CFD clients and move them on seamlessly to new product ranges.
Sure.
Because if you say it's very hard with that, it won't learn a second. I know it happens with another platform. So taking them and then saying, okay, we now have options and futures, away you go. And then the platform should be able to be integrated into enough of those different venues to be able to handle it. So where we're going with this is to be able to keep on top of those trends. You need to have a trading platform backend who's able to seamlessly add different liquidity feeds from different venues and different service providers without having to redesign the whole platform and then lose all your customers and start all over again. You need to be able to, oh look, fixed income is coming. We need to get some fixed income product range on board. Yep. Okay, plug it in, away you go.
Test it,
and away you go. So it should be able to build it on the same platform without very high costs and without long times to market and without disruptions. You should be able to handle every. How you could say is platform to be able to keep up with it. You should be able to handle every global market and the way it operates.
Agreed. And does TraderEvolution Global have solutions now for market participants that want to get into fixed income?
Yes.
Or is that something that
absolutely.
Down the road?
The TraderEvolution backend can be deployed straight onto the infrastructure, the back office.
Already today?
Yeah, absolutely.
For this asset class?
For this asset class. For any global asset class. Wow. So you could deploy the TraderEvolution backend onto a broker's infrastructure. We would do that. And then they can basically offer fixed income as options, futures. We can choose. It would be down to the broker. It can connect any asset class in any global market. Once that's deployed on there, just charge a software licensing fee because we're a software company. We don't get involved in any trading activities. Fixed fee software license, and that broker can then connect to any global market, fixed income, as futures, options, CFDs, FX, any type of class, and any venue anywhere worldwide.
You name it.
Absolutely.
You want it, you can connect to it with TraderEvolution Global. Well, Andrew, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us.
It's a pleasure.
I'm glad to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah, good luck the rest of the way here at the conference, and good luck to TraderEvolution Global. Definitely a very, very exciting product.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you, Nikolai. All the best. See you soon.